We're in Amsterdam in 118. This is the some of the McKim Mead and White Columbia campus coming down past a railing of limestone and then big chunks of pink granite around this service entrance. But I'm really interested in panning over. Look at that wall of pink granite. And across the street, down there, we can see the law school. That's the brick. I mean, that's a law school building, and then the law school itself with those verticals, and then Italian house, Casa Italiana. But then this is the building I wanted you to see, because this is all cast cement, concrete, not cement, concrete. And this would be a form of architecture, I believe, referred to as brutalism. A variation on a modernist ethic, clean lines, right? But massive, blocky, chunky, monkey architecture. And again, not a naturally occurring quarried stone for the main building, but concrete. Down at the base, the wall is a limestone. Hanover by Hudson Skips, big truck. And look at a second pump house. This one in some disrepair. Not at all as nicely maintained as the granite pump house we just saw at 114th Street. Now we're on 119th. Or no, that was 113th, I should say. Now we're at 119th. And this looks to be a limestone, blocks of limestone on top of, I can't even tell. It may be Manhattan schist, it may be granite, but it's so badly weathered that it's hard to really read it. I'm gonna stake my very bad reputation on this being a limestone. Then the base, the little apron separating the wall from the actual building structure, is a granite. And then the bottom rocks, I couldn't yet figure out. So let's move in, take a little look. Definitely has some granite-like features, but I am not absolutely positive what I'm looking at here. A little graffiti. This pump house, again, would have been used to get water up this hill. You can see that we're on the hill looking north. The water has to get up this big hill. And turning around, it's got to continue up this big hill. So they needed a pump house to do that. And here it is. It would have big pumps in it, and it would raise the water on its journey from reservoirs up in Westchester and Ulster County to the people of New York City. I wanted to continue our theme of services. This is a building that you may have seen at 108th and Manhattan, and it's got nothing really. Well, actually, I love the form of it. I have to say, I've taken pictures of this before. I love its blocky form. I love the proportions of the windows, the way the light hits them. I like the limestone decorative features. So simple, so clean. What is this building is the question. Why would I stop here in terms of services? Well, it's what is called, over the doorway, the telephone, or just telephone building. Well, these were built all over the city in the 20th century in order to connect people's telephones to a central distribution network. And in here would have been lots of switches and ways in which, when you called a phone number on your landline, the phone call was delivered. This is still a building operated by Verizon, from which Verizon evolved out of the Bell Telephone, which had all these buildings. And I don't know what they do with it anymore. I don't know what's in here. I don't know. Do they have servers? I'm not sure what they do because their landline service is diminishing. But I do know that people still come to work here. So, the telephone building. And if you go around the city, you'll see these kind of buildings, often nondescript, something you didn't really think about, sort of like that Con Ed building. An essential service at your doorstep. The telephone building. I'll have to make a little ticker on the bottom of this shot after I find out more about what they do in there now. We're at 106th, the whole cancer hospital, which has been turned into very well expensive luxury housing. The base brownstone and then the brick brownstone around all the decorative portions. But I came to look. First, we'll stop here at what's called the Stranger's Gate, which you can see is very weathered rock with lots of lichen and moss and algae growing on it. And then this little building, hidden in the bushes, hidden in the trees, hidden in the foliage. What is this? Well, along Central Park West, adjacent to the park and headed downtown, all the way to 59th from here, are little buildings that service the subway below. So I would guess that this is one of those, though it seems like at this point it's no longer in use. It's a little unclear. Or it's painted. No, that's it, sorry. Painted red. Painted red, looks like a granite. Painted red granite, but hard to really read it. This reads more as granite. So at some point this was painted red, not sure why. And then they used, it looks like, for these edges, a different stone, but hard to read it because I think it too has been painted. And it could be that it's also granite, but this then again, I believe, has got something to do with delivering electricity to the subway that is below it. Look at the little detailing at the top. There's sort of like a conglomerate at the top, or it's a slab of cement or concrete. I keep saying cement, concrete. So, and then just to take a look up close, this beautiful moss. And then here's a combination of two little mosses, not quite the same. Very beautiful. So life finds its way. We're on the steps at 106th Street, and you may recall we came here in the fall. And this is Manhattan schist weathering into essentially soil. I mean, that's the process. And the rock, which is being weathered by vegetation, splitting it, the tree here, organic acids released by lichen and algae, moss, even ferns, and then physical weathering, freezing and thawing, and hydration of minerals in the Manhattan schist. And if we then reach down, we see what comes right out of the rock, but the sediment, which will form a soil on the land or be deposited in water, depending on the size of the fragments. Here's another one of our little service buildings along Central Park West. Here to help with subway service. This may be a place to evacuate from. The door says danger, third rail operations CBH, and then it's got a phone number if there's a problem. So this has definitely got to do with the electricity that makes the subway system run. And you can probably get in this door and then go down and be in the BADC line that is below us. Well, these are granite blocks that they use everywhere. You see them. And then this looks like a sandstone to me. I wouldn't have guessed that. And you can see it's textured, fairly fine grained, but definitely still sand grains, and gray sandstone. So probably in a lower kind of oxygen environment. I can't tell if the window base is cast or actually the same stone. May well be, but they've definitely put texture on the stone wherever they quarried it. This may be from cutting. It may have been added to give it some kind of interest from the point of view of whoever designed the building. And then that feeds into the wall, which is, I can't tell what the wall is. This is one of your little electrical support stations for the subway. Services, services, services.